Aiden?
Yeah, so like what Ant just said, a lot of the times I have to like read the questions 2 or 3 times to actually understand it.
And that's not a bad thing necessarily. I know your time is crunch, but rereading the question is often a good thing to do because often you catch something in the little details, as I'm sure Aiden did, as you get to each question through a second reading or two. Chelsea,
Yeah, and I felt was a lot more reminiscent of like the stuff done in class.
the FRQ was more
It
what?
was more reminiscent of like the stuff we've actually done in class or in the book, or like if I could recognize something, some elements from like the problems we tackled in the book.
Yeah.
But the multiple choice, it was just like content that I would never even thought to study, just
Okay.
because it was like I don't know, because the FRQ it was more like I don't know, it was stuff I've recognized from the stuff we've done in class, but the multiple choice it was really I don't know, it was something that hadn't even like crossed my mind when I was studying, like review those aspects of it.
I see. Okay. For the clausura, I didn't pick it to be anything particularly unusual. Did others have the same feeling about the multiple choice, that it had a lot of weird stuff on it? I don't know. Yes, yes, no, no. And there's Amina as well. Hello, Amina and Oscar. That's good. Okay. We're just talking about the clausura, which Amina took anyway. Okay. Yeah. What about the FRQ part? Let's get some other comments on that, Lola.
I thought that I would have a lot of time to work on it, but then when I actually went through it, there were so many questions for each question that I would spend so much time on like one whole question that towards the end when I was running out of time and I still had to like have to do half of the FRQ, I could just like skip some of them that I knew I couldn't do so that I could just go on and do the ones that I knew that I could get right. So it was kind of stressful having to actually like miss some questions just because I didn't have time.
And it's designed to be that way. You're not going to be able to get all of it, and even getting all of it done is really difficult. But I like the way that Lola said she skipped to some questions that she knew she could do and get right. And that's the correct thing to do, Lola. If you can scan ahead and say, okay, I got 2, 3 questions yet, I'm going to look, okay, that one I think I can do. I'd go ahead and do the one just to earn as many points as you can. Other comments? I'll go from the back forward. And Sophie?
When I first got there for food, I like before and I already knew that. Like I had already time that was on the taking a lot longer than expected. So I like had already crossed a lot and was like I'm gonna focus on the other ones first and then see if I can have time and then eventually like I have to leave out some other parts of different problems because it was having time.
Thank you. And that's a pretty good strategy too. Get through, read each one, and then some parts you're not going to get back to. Maybe you know it's going to take more time. Some parts you will be able to get through easily. I'm going to take Antonin, and then I got a comment from Amina as well. Antonin, go ahead.
I made the mistake of not studying all the questions beforehand, so one of them like wrong response questions kind of cut into 2 sides like 2 other papers. And so the first one was only like 3 sub questions, and so I thought I could take my time on it, so I did. And then I flipped the page and I saw that it continued on the back like another like 10 sub questions. So I essentially like kind of sold myself.
Okay, so you had real time issues about yeah. It's hard. You really have to drive yourself. Let's see. I got a comment from. She felt the same way as you did, Chelsea, about the multiple choice. And the FRQ, she said, was long and she didn't get to finish because she ran out of time. On the other hand, she thought it wasn't too bad. I should have skipped questions a bit faster. So what you'll have to do is that you'll have to, on the real one, is you'll have to really analyze the questions, do the parts you can do, and maybe come back to the parts you either don't know how to do or know will take a lot more time. I'll go in a circle here, so I'll go Aiden and then Ellen. Aiden.
For the FRQ, I feel like the hardest part was like reading the question, understanding the question, and then actually knowing like the first step and how to solve it. I feel like obviously I would have done like a lot better if I had like Monday start to maybe like refer to a different problem. It's like okay, I did this for this, so I'll try this.
Thank you, Aiden. And to be honest, Aiden and everybody, the problem I have with this course, I have often is I really try and get you ready for the clausura as well as the actual test. But the clausura is always before the test, and it's the first thing that hits you. I know that. Often then the actual test may go a little better because, how should I say this? I threw you into cold water already with the clausura, and then you probably, Aiden, have those skills a little more to do the actual one of analyzing questions. And quite frankly, it's going to show us things that we need to study more to prepare. And that'll be part of it as well, especially with the FRQ part. Types of problems we know we need to spend more time on. Ellie.
I want to ask you on the efforts for sports, like which questions are higher. Is it, I mean, in chemistry, do you know that which specific questions have that points to answer?
I would say this. In chemistry, it does vary, especially if it's a problem like the one Anthony described, where it's 3 questions. Then there's like a whole nother part that's on a different subject. That's the rest of the longer question. But I will say this. Often, parts A, B are pretty easy on the FRQ part. And by the time you get to the later ones, they may be easy or they may be a subject you just don't know anything about. So try and get those early points on each one, even the shorter FRQs, because that's often the better bet, pardon me, the better bet at getting as many points as you can. But not always the case. Ellie, follow up?
Yeah, I can ask if someone who is a student says this, you agree, we write that we agree with disagree, and then sometimes we just look at like 8 points or half a point.
It varies. I would say count on it being not that way. Like occasionally you'll get a point for agreeing or disagree, but often not. Often it's you need to agree or disagree the correct way and have the correct justification or argument to get the 1 point, which is pretty stinky, but they often do that. So you can't just say yes or no. If they need a justification, wow, you have to give it. You have to give it. And is it graded on the she's asking about, Amina's asking about our clausura. Is it graded on the AP curve? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Anthony.
I think for a lot of the questions, there was like an overwhelming amount of information, which was very hard to like eliminate which ones to use and like ignore on those. So I would think to myself like maybe a lot of information is more useful, so I can apply to a lot more things. But actually, was the opposite, where I had so many things that I can apply to, and I wasn't sure which one was right. So that was very difficult, where I just didn't really know which one to kind of think out and use right.
So much information was sometimes distracting. And they probably do that a bit on purpose to see if you can really work through and get the information that you need only. But it can be frustrating to have so much information, especially at the start of a longer problem. And Sophie, then back to Aiden.
Yeah, like there was a lot of information, and then you had like questions where like you had to explain something, or you had to like talk there or something like that, and it was like difficult to sometimes just that like I had the problem where I didn't know if they wanted to include all of the information, or if they wanted to include just parts of the information, or like just it was like just very it was very confusing.
My only advice for you when you get confused on what they ask for, and I know when I answered a question, pardon me, thank you. I answered a question from Bella. I actually couldn't answer it. I couldn't tell her anything because I'm not allowed to. But I just said to her, reread the question. So, and this is what your author, Cheryl said to me one time. She said, tell students, reread the question if they get confused. And then if they're still confused, they should reread the question. And if they're still confused, in other words, she said the main thing to help you focus, and this could be also, Antonine, about what to pull out of the information you need, is to reread the question again and again as you need to on some of those FRQ parts. So that was her advice that I'm passing on to you. Good. Any other? Yes, Aiden.
It's not something like specific to the test, but I think this applies to a few students in our class.
when you just had math before, and we were pretty reliant on our calculators in the FRQ, and a lot of our calculators were like set to a different setting for math class, and we didn't change it back. We didn't realize how much of a difference it would make. I feel like a lot of our calculations were probably off because of a calculator being set.
Well, I had Bella contact me about that as well. The only thing that might be off is if you had degrees and radians. But if you're just multiplying numbers and stuff, does that matter? I would think you'd be okay, even if you had it on radians instead of degrees. But we don't really use a lot of that. It's more physics anyway. We don't have a lot of radians or degrees in chemistry. So I don't think it'll be a problem, but I'll look at some of the answers of a couple of you that have told me that, Aiden, and just see if there's a calculation error involved. A calculation error, I've still got to take a point off, but it'll probably be a lot less than if you simply do the problem wrong. So if you do it right but have a calculation error, you're still going to get some credit as far as I'm concerned. And Sophie? Oh, well, you just took it. So, give me a little time to grade it. The multiple choice I can do quickly, okay? But the FRQ part, I'll start it over the weekend, but I don't know if I can get them all done or not. They take a while for me to grade. As soon as I can, I will get them back in your hands. Believe me, you're my top priority, as you usually are. You're my top priority right now. Okay? So that is something you need to know. And I'll say that to Amina as well. I'll get them done as quickly as I can. Indeed. Okay, so yeah, what I want to do now is I'm going to turn on some lights, at least up front. Get this out of the way. And I want to do number 1 with you. So, folks at home, I think you've got it as well. It's this. It has a little 2015 in the corner, and it has a little spiral of sulfur. Little spiral of sulfur. No, that's not. That's the causura. 2015. It's got 2 half reactions on the front page. Okay, let's get a little more light. So, I know some of you were working in groups last time, and my goal today is let's do 1 together, and then 2 you can maybe work with your group a little more on, okay? Here we go. So, number 1, I'm going to move my folks at home back a little bit, and then lower that so hopefully they can see the board. More important than seeing me, seeing the board, and I'll try and write where they can see. Okay, so number 1, we got our 2 half reactions. Some of you did this already and told me about it. Like for A, it says we want a balanced overall reaction. And they say it's a galvanic cell. In other words, it's going to give off what? What does that kind of mean? It's going to give off what? Errol? It's a cell. And if it's galvanic, it means it's doing what, Aiden? It's going to give off electricity, okay? So think like exothermic, think negative delta G, think a K greater than 1. All those things would be true. So so why am I asking you that? Because you guys need to know it's going to have what sort of voltage if we do it right. What sort of voltage if it's able to give off electricity, Lola? Positive voltage. Okay, so I guess the key word is galvanic. Galvanic stuff. So help me out. How about Penelope? Look at the electrons. What did you have to do with one of these suckers? True. And something else. What about the number of electrons? Something else you had to do. Great. So multiply your bottom equation by 3. She's right. We have to flip the top because if I flip the bottom one, what would happen to my voltage, gang? It would become, and Sophie, really negative. So that's not going to work. So we're going to put things together as Penelope's described. Top one, we're going to write backwards. And while I'm at it, I'm going to put this as plus over here, because you flipped it. And the other one, she said multiply by 3, so I'm going to do that. Good. What sort of stuff crosses out? What sort of things cross out? Lola? Good. Anything else? Answer B. Yeah, check this out. This is kind of tricky. 3 and 6. So what cancels out and how will that work out? Continue, Chelsea.
I think the 2 waters will react to cancel out, and then we're just left with 3 on the counter side.
You got it. So 6 minus 3 is 3. So I end it like that. Okay? Good. Bring it all down. And the voltage was still 1.129. And then you can look ahead to B. They need the voltage anyway for B, don't they? So it ends up being how much? Somebody got it at 1.229. Thank you. So what's the total? 1.314. That's it. Thank you. I did. So my mistake. So boom, 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 boom. And just because I've had you all year, like Alex, why is this so typical? CO2 and H2O. Why is it so typical that we make those?
Because that's what the one reason I think it's a question.
Yes, it does, but why is it typical there too? What is it about CO2 and H2O that's why they're so often formed? Errol?
It is because they're not required low energy and least for CO2.
Yeah, or let's say they give off a lot of energy as the bonds form. Remember, when bonds form, we give off energy. It's only then to break them we have to put in energy. So yes, they're very low energy positions. So I give off a lot of energy to make them. And just like a combustion reaction that Alex said, that gives off energy as well. Clearly here it's giving off energy because I got a positive voltage. So that's A and B. Let's do C. All I ever do when I read these, to be honest, is I write the numbers down to try and get my brain thinking. And I suspect it's not a bad thing to do. Okay, then I got 0.10 amps. And I got 20 seconds. So what do I want to know? I want the charge in coulombs. Okay, a couple of groups got that far. Can you help me out? All right, Ellie. Yeah.
And so basically, you set that up for you.
So instead of 1, it's 0.1, isn't it?
That equals
Okay, times? Times how many, Elliot, how many seconds then?
it's
20 seconds. You might say, is that all they wanted? That's all they wanted. Now I know it sounds tricky. Well, charge, coulombs, oh shoot. Okay, but look at the labels. You do need to memorize that amps is coulombs per second. You really gotta put that in long term. And then it's just times seconds, and you know how to do labels because you guys are good at labels. And even if I don't have a calculator, I can get that one. It'll be what number in terms of numbers, Lola? Yeah, 2.0 coulombs. So that's part I. And I'm racing through, but if you got a question, please raise your hand. Okay? I don't have to do it fast. I just want to make sure that your questions are answered. And that my folks at home can still see. Okay, then I need the initial amount of C2H5OH in the solution. Oh, they got a 10 milliliter sample of C2H5OH. Let's take this charge and do something with that. Lola.
well, you can take the coulombs and you know that 9.648 times 10 to the fourth is the amount of coulombs per mole of electrons.
Good. So she's changed the coulombs to moles of electrons. Keep going, Lola.
Then you
From there,
can change the mole of electrons to 1 mole of C2H5OH to get the moles.
good.
And when you have the moles, you divide it by the solution to get moles per liter.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry. Got ahead of myself. Good. Then, moles per liter. Because they gave us the amount of liters, they gave us 10 milliliters. Let's do that. Here we go. So, she's kind of already got it figured out for us. So it's 2.0 coulombs times what? 1 coulomb, she said, is what? 96. What is it, Lola?
It has to be flipped because you want the moles of electrons. So
Ah,
you have the coulombs, so it'd be 1 mole of electrons over 9.648 times 10 to the fourth coulombs.
okay. 1 point. What is it again? 1 point.
9.648 times 10 to the fourth.
And that number, I hope, was given to you. Should have been on the given information sheet. Good. Then she needs to go from moles of electrons to moles of C2H5OH. And you got your balanced equation from part 1. So, Alicia, help me out.
12
Beautiful. Good. You guys can punch that out. I don't know what that'll be. Some amount of moles.
1.73 times 10 to the negative
73.
7.3? Okay. Great. Okay, then let's get the concentration. So it's moles per liter. And from Aiden, I got the 1.73 times 10 negative 6 moles. All right, and you'll have to get used to doing this mentally. 10 milliliters is how many liters? Can you do it, Anthony? Yes, sir. Okay, good. A couple of negatives go, and I end up with what? 1.76 times 10 to the negative. Yeah, negative 4. And look at that, you don't even need a calculator, right? That's negative second, negative 6. I could just subtract the powers. Is that what we gave? They gave us 2. So was it 1.7 or 1.8? 1.73. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, 1.7. Thank you, Ellie. Questions so far, or from folks at home? on how to do some of that. And now look at this. Now they're going to do a whole different problem. This is kind of like what Antonin said about the clausura. Now we got something that's, okay, it's the same alcohol, but now we got an orange ion going to a blue-green one on the other side. What is this about? So let's turn the page. And suddenly it's a whole different thing, really. And suddenly it's really about what's called Beer's law. Okay, and I'm going to try and be a good boy and read it a little bit with you. So we got a solution of dichromate with a concentration of 1 point blah blah, and an initial concentration of the alcohol of 0.5 molar, okay. Keeps the pH the same, okay. The cuvette has a path lag of 0.5 centimeters, and it's in a spectrophotometer, so kind of like the lab we did. The absorbance of C2O72 minus in the solution is monitored as the reaction proceeds. Now, I think it's important to look back. The CR2O72 minus, is that a reactant or product? Where is that in the reaction? It's a reactant. So as the process goes on, it makes sense that I'm getting what sort of absorbances? What sort of numbers? Anthony? Decreasing. So I have less and less of that colored stuff. Okay, then let's go to D and see a good way to get this. Not every group got to this last time, so let's do it together. I'm going to calculate it at 1.5 minutes. Okay. Your initial concentration of the stuff at time 0, and this is important to know, at time 0, I had a concentration of 1.0, no, 1.0 times 10⁻³ molar C2O72 minus. Why is that important? What can I do if I wanted at 1.5 minutes now? And,
Make a ratio.
yeah, let's make a ratio of the absorbances. So ratios, or if you want to call it a proportion, is another way to say it. So I've got 1.0 times 10 to the -3rd molar at 0.782. Where am I getting that? That's the first absorbance, everybody. What can I put equal to that on the other side? What sort of ratio would be the same ratio? Good, lots of hands. Penelope. Super. Now, the reason we can do this is because you know, in general, Beer's law, here's time, here's absorbance, produces what sort of relationship? Alicia? Linear. And for this one, it's going down, so I'll just, to remind ourselves, that's why we can do this ratio. If it was like exponential, we couldn't do it. But Beer's law is linear. Notice I didn't even have to use Beer's law yet. I just used the data in a relationship. Now let's do E. Now E's getting more specific with probably Beer's law. Let's see. The student runs a second trial, but this time uses a cuvette that has a path length of 1 centimeter. So we're going from 0.5 centimeters to 1 centimeter. And remember the path length, remember those little doohickeys we put it in? That's the path length. So it's from there to there, okay? You remember what those were called? They started with a C. I don't know if they use the word here or not. Cuvettes. So that was the width of our cuvette. That's the path length, okay? I know, I'm writing too much. Let's see what they say. What do they want? Oh, they do tell you cuvette. Describe how the experimental setup should be adjusted to keep the initial absorbance at 0.782. Justify your answer with respect to the factors that influence the absorbance. My people, what if they didn't do anything and suddenly they used a cuvette that would be twice as wide? What do you think would happen to the amount absorbed? What would happen, Ellie? Which way would it be? I'd have more fluid with more color. I think it would double. I think if I do it the way it is right now, it would double. I'm sorry, Anthony. Go ahead, please.
I was guessing maybe the concentration has to be half so that proportion stays away.
Exactly. Good. So let's make sure we all got that. So with 1 centimeter, absorbance would be double. But they said they don't want that. They want to keep it the same. So Anthony's good suggestion. Half the concentration to keep same absorbance. This is AP, so you know they're going to want the actual number. What number concentration would it be now that you want to put in? Here it was before. Half of that would be what? How about Feeney? Give me half of that number.
0.5.
And you can write it like that. I know that's not classic scientific notation, but you can write it like that, and that would be Feeney just fine. That'd be fine. You could also change it and put 5 times 10 to the negative 4th, but it's okay. That would give you the point. That would give you the point. Ute. Last one. Now we got another thing they're doing. It's like a whole new problem. Look at this. Concentration of reactants used in the experiment. The rate of reaction can be written as follows. So it's a rate of reaction question now. The rate equals K observed times the concentration of dichromate to the Y, where K observed equals K times the concentration of the stuff, of the alcohol. Explain how the experimental data indicates that the reaction is first order with respect to C2O72 minus. To be honest, I don't get their explanation at all, but I get their question. So who can do that? Why is the experimental data showing that it's first order with respect to dichromate? That's the explanation. If you look at some of the numbers up above. Give you a hint. Look at 3 and 6. 3 minutes and 6 minutes. Hold
From 3 minutes to 6 minutes.
it. Yeah. Okay, so the concentration split in half as the time doubled. This means it's first order. NC2, PR2, sorry, 072 minus. There's probably other ways to do it. Did other groups do something else here? I just think that'll do it for you. That observation from up above. And that's number one. Okay, number two, you guys are going to have to read several times. You can work in groups again. You can also pull in and work with Oscar or Amina and have them work. And so for the rest of this time, which is not a lot, and then for next period as well, we'll go ahead and work on some of these. I'll come around and help you on them, you and your groups. So yeah, go ahead and get together, decide who you're going to work with. Or you can work alone if you wish. Mina and Oscar, feel free to work with one group or the other. Maybe they'll give you a call.
What about the last question? I didn't know how to do it before.
Oh, right.
This one we're asking for.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good way to do it. Thank you for giving us.
But like he told us 5 minutes. That they would have it at 5, they were gonna have 5. I know.
She told us percent.
Yeah, a little. So I'm confused. What's it supposed to be? Because now the video that yes,
Obviously.
then loses her
wrong cover for sure. And after one more.
I don't know. I don't know if my.
I was like,
I don't think.
oh. Yeah, even more. That's what I was.
I'm sure. That's hard to say. I hope I can.
You said you did, last year, I heard it, so last year, oh, Robin, about that.
Yeah, I feel like.
So I was like, okay, last time you said that, I was like, yeah.
Should
And I was already home, but I was doing all that.
be a great.
But maybe not you, but I don't know if you guys are.
No, these are.
Oh, purpose week.
Not my dad.
Wow.
I can remember.
Yeah, I should.
The Chem. The Chem thing. Y'all are stupid.
But also,
Even I knew that you should take Chem. Oh.
Yeah, I knew
I should have. Psych was a good choice.
I'm so glad.
I didn't really. I don't know if I should. However, I don't know. We didn't even have to request. Oh, really? I don't know what to do. Where's this one? We have break?
It was great.
Oh, why am I? I thought we were just waiting.
I will talk to the neighbors about our Our
And then you have to go to class. Oh, I literally don't.
Oscar, how do you feel about
Next one, I'm gonna study.
go back to school after but I didn't figure out. And the if I remember, Because we're in the clear. I think.
No, if we don't have ball, I'm not going. Like, I don't want to school after the season. Exactly. There's no point in us coming to school after.
I know, but I don't understand. I don't understand why they're what's great. Oh, really? Yeah, for sure. I don't know, it doesn't matter either.
They like.
But it doesn't really matter. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know how that's working. Wrong is happening. Happy, but I'm surprised.
I was kind of going for a fun because it's my birthday. Yeah. So I don't know how I felt about that. I could have had, like, I don't know what how I would.
I drew this the other day. And someone drew this ball.
Yeah. So good. It's like you're getting the cross.
After graduation.
Yeah.
Well, after graduation, I'm out. I'm back.
Yeah. Full of that.
Like that. And then she did, then she lost there.
Are you going to safety?
Turns out I have two things.
I know, but which
And
one?
so like that.
I was gonna say.
But I was like, yeah,
So really,
I'm like,
it's already.
maybe.
And these literally. Or they should have already.
You remember I have any other people.
2 weeks.
So it's so loud where somebody is so loud. You gotta wear fake teeth. Yeah. Every over there. December 13th.
You know when Taylor Swift's birthday is? When it's.
I was trying to string around my shoes on the other end of the string to the door, and then I would like
It's
slide
not
the door.
birthday because it's Christmas presents.
But you have to make
There's
sure.
not enough time.
Yeah, my own blood.
Like if your birthday is early in the year, then exactly. My birthday is nowhere near any holiday.
And it was
Easter's in March. It's in between. My birthday is on
You know, I had a pair, and I ate, and I had all this. I've never had like a big club and I tried to share it. It was so hard. And yeah, and then I was like, yeah. I wrote a letter to the teacher that
Chemistry is not worth it.
she wrote me a note back and my
Is it really that bad? Everything is done like the car. And it's still there. An hour off the down. Nice walk though. I love the walk though.
I'm gonna go home after some basketball.
Wait. What about baby teeth? My appointment, yeah, and then I felt better. And then I studied for my history exam. And I didn't go to bed until like midnight. I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm feeling myself talking about this. Like, okay. Like, you don't want to have a so I have to tell you my
Oh, have you been to, what do you mean? Why not? You have 2 days. You're not doing it.
You asked for more, and you had like all of the.
So they did this.
Yeah.
You know, I was
A lot of
what happened was since I went to school, another university gave more, and I completed to do their same thing that you made. So I kind of looked out and it's so cool.
I also look at the
No, they can't. Yeah, but they have my parents have some, so it's only.
Whatever.
It's still gonna be like 130, 140. I mean, fine. I didn't read you the real number.
I know. That's fine. I'm gonna have like, do not have all
Also, but like,
I'm like, you should start up.
my parents started when as soon as I moved out, everything was happening. I got a baby clown. I gotta find a phone. Gotta get my driver's license. Gotta figure out how to get it. Everything started.
Yeah, I don't want to have myself with a coffee because I drink it in the morning. See me on the road. No, I would want one. I would want to like always. I know I have to like my girlfriend's
When they're really close.
yeah. No, but you need like to like have and then you hours. 9 hours. Yeah,
It's different for state, but it's also different. So when you're 16, yes, you know that. You don't have to Are you doing this? I think it's, oh, you're not. But it's not.
This is my brother.
Oh. So you're moving to LA as 2 months. Why?
Everybody has so much and then it's like, oh, really nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even though like basic questions, I always like literally, I went to war and got like actually
Can't imagine.
I have one of my dad.
Nice. What
My dad has like I have access to Hawaii. He has
Oh,
one
in Hawaii, so what time are you gonna come over?
and one my college for the past summer.
Oh, I see.
Those are the options my brother. You know, but he paid for the then
Oh,
like
no.
how much of a car would you drive?
It,
My brother. You love those guys like there's just a Jeep in your driveway. And then no, and then in the fall she was talking about having 3 cars in the Jeep and navy blue. And then you're saying you got navy blue Jeep, so you're saying it's like yours. It's not navy blue. No, it's blue. And that was yours. It's like color you wanted, it's the car you wanted.
Yes. I had one nice car, but
He has really nice friends.
the thing is, though, is like, all the college was so expensive. I'm not gonna be able to afford it.
Then like I'm not gonna drive right now. I love running. These ones usually sound like this.
I'm not gonna
So close, but you have to down here.
It's just something that you're into. That is it.
I like to walk with my pockets.
It's not a Wrangler, but what is it?
It's like really
But that is your group bird.
These are cool, but I feel like I'm gonna
You see like very, very few people. But that's like
yeah, really, I really feel
really
getting right. It's just that's that part. Whoa. Someone gave me money. So. I haven't had. Sorry, I'm looking at you. Yeah, ever. Oh, and I always
I'm gonna have-
4 years.
I'm gonna have to
I feel terrible, but like I love her. Because I have to wear white before. I had to feel like, I want to
Well, first
get
thing, hold on. But that doesn't mean I can.
well, it's.
I haven't had 4 years of tolerance. You just have to, if you drink your
College dorm,
then
Oh, yeah. I look at how it's like.
about being high.
No, but, yeah, even your.
There's nothing wrong with it, but it's becoming legal in so many states. It just has a bad statement.
My brother has one.
It has a bad
I love it.
statement. Yeah.
My mom is from China. Here,
That might change.
I love it with all my heart. With all my heart. Oh wait, yeah, sorry. And it was is it a name or like stressful? Like air like
It is a
completely like cheap.
And it's like, I don't know, you're gonna buy it online. You know, it's like 1 year, like, it's most of it, like, I'm only for the.
I never saw anything more.
It's fine. Yeah, what I can say, if I.
I just wouldn't smoke anything in front of me.
Yeah, I remember.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
But for the one time, for the one time. But that's still take one time.
Yeah. That's how they.
Okay, even if I did, you know what I was hooked on, so I couldn't. Like,
No, you would know.
what? Okay, what if I was listening when someone was like, hey, she's so good. Let's not do the challenge. Only if us were
I think you picked up 5 points. Exercise movie. Someone called the Maze Runner exercise movie. Oh my god. Oh yeah. My point is.
Y'all want to watch
I will.
I have a 50-minute long video because he has
And he like
Okay. Let's go ahead and add the software, unless you guys want.
Why else would they on?
You guys got something?
Yeah, we're waiting for me now. Similar, oh right. Yeah. Good. I was thinking of your age. Oh, you are so old. Like, no, I like it. I think it was 18-year-old shot put on.
It's just my shade.
There's still like a joke.
Like, this is shade.
Alright, cool. Yeah, when I went to the energy used.
Here?
No,
Did they think?
no, it's older.
When you're going to the
I do it anyways. Yeah.
especially because that's fine.
Yeah. I don't think everyone like I don't grab like yeah. Well, why you got last year? Yeah. Wait, no.
Yeah, I don't look at I know when you were girls, so like still. I never take a knock on my She's yeah, once you find a relationship in America, finish it really. How old are your brothers? I wouldn't be worried about it.
You look very energy. Why? I was like.
Well, no, I mean, that's what they're going to do when it's done. They're going to do it.
I'm really youngest, so like what's on
They don't have an older relationship. Well, right now, I'm like the mediator. So, like, I think someone's involved in being a little unfair or like, humanity. Because, like, I'm moving out, so they realize I'm a little much. And so I help my sister. And my sister's not very, but she's pretty dependent on me with stuff. Other stuff. And so like, what is she gonna do? She's gonna be able to show you by herself.
I had that home and I brought my textbook and then I forgot my folder, but I realized that on the. Monday I was building that.
Very different.
Sure. Oscar does have it. I sent it to him.
Nothing off for your good. I downloaded it today.
I would love to know the
Use the follow. And the still water reaction. They have similar chemical properties. Some similarity between the oxides. If you
we should know that I am. Yeah, cool.
Whenever you gave you guys the dimension, I'll just have to show you.
Oh, 11. Oh, I didn't.
That's like a 4. This is without 22. I'm happy. Yeah, that's only 6. I had like 8 in it. I think I'm gonna.
Anyway, I was
What is you?
was gonna say, come on. No, but I don't know.
Did you figure out? How many questions are on there?
But I don't have what I have practiced. As far as I can, we'll have 60.
Did I give you more time then? No. Do you expect to answer 12 questions at the same time? The KFC goes for that.
It was like a. It's 55.8. So I said it was 111. Oh wait, what's 03? You added it. No. I don't know. Yeah.
I have the key, so whenever you want to check some, let me know.
16 times 2 is 32 plus 8 is
16 times 3.
Wait, why is that 8? It is in its key.
You were going to do it.
I was at 18.
What's the hardest way back? You know, for the polar mass. But it's already water. Like all day with the. FD2 and 3 together.
Oh,
Well, you tell me which one. Make it simple. So.
Like all my apples. Literally all my apples. Oh, I delete them. Yeah.
No.
It's a solution.
Well,
But then we have to take an
next like account that is two mold of I can choose for one mold. Oh, I thought we were talking about mold.
It doesn't say that, does it? It said which one is bigger and why. It doesn't say the final. So don't answer something.
Okay.
Which,
Find which one is higher concentration. We don't have to do it that way. Okay. So it's based on this. It's a greater number, right? It's 10 times 10 to make it 33 instead of 10 to make it over.
no, that probably because AO2 is less transferable.
I said no, you can't because
But he's not for the state.
I'm
It is a large number. Times 10 to make it
you can't add water to AL2.
Yeah, that's it. So just describe it.
But it's AL.
AO like a higher.
Because the participation
Right, take down.
I really like it. I just want to share that. You said
Oh, aluminum, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so add, you say add, so add HCl. They said that add the reaction to add those. And then, you're adding
Yeah, but there's the. What's like,
Mine
I
doesn't.
and then just
All right, write it down. Equation.
So AL to left. You went from reaction 4 to reaction 2. That would be, yeah.
So here they said reaction 2, right? And then you go back to solid, so that the solutions are, you don't care about the ion. So, and then you put some. And you go back to ion, you don't have to worry about the ion. Take closer to that.
I do too. And then my dad did that.
Because you don't turn on the light. Yeah, I turn it on, and it's then what I yeah, and then you add, yeah, you find.
I like, I kind of like it.
Look, you're just trying to go from. Wait, no, so what from scale?
So you write first, right, add,
Yeah.
And that's normally
Everyone dresses white. Students are asked to develop a plan for separating male from OT. It makes a picture of how to how to male to OT. Using triple reaction
and then we're going to one, 5 to add. Oh, yeah. No,
Any more right now? And what did you reaction you said?
I didn't know if it was a product or
This is reaction that results in the production of the ion. What's your reaction? You started.
We're starting with ALO3. No, that's not. Oh, it's OH minus.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever this.
So this is the only product, this is the only, yeah.
Oh.
Like I wasn't earlier, was just like.
Water is not
You guys are
reactive, it just dissolves.
Really? Yeah, and then just put your thing there and you were like, I didn't even feel that nervous. Yeah, I was so theatrical. Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to be like, no. I know. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're great. What you're saying is yes.
Yeah, well, what's the
I was crying so bad and then he's like, well, you were saying I think like okay, I'm like, what do you do? That's what I'm saying, like, everyone's gonna be doing, fast. I wrote so fast and I forgot that whole.
Yeah, okay, so up here we got line plus one is that, side, 1 plus 2. Looks like the problem is if I had to go.
That's what went through my head during the. You would be able to.
Can I put you out?
I remember every single time I would watch the walk cover, like, you know, like when teachers had it there, I would always look inside to see join you. So I was just sitting there like, what are you gonna turn around and see if they know me?
Math is equals math over total math.
I think it's supposed to be.
So. Okay, oh, so then why don't you give us a more math? Why would you turn it into more? Oh, you five, No, it's not AL. Okay, so we have to do, alright, so we have to do minus AL, that's from AL.
Also says something back.
Because it's one, yeah. So,
Can we not do
the
this one?
time plan,
I think the weirdest part is that well, I was still figure out.
oh,
And I, no,
Oh, yeah.
no, but I was so curious to have friends and love the culture and that whole lot.
yeah, but we have part of it.
Wait, no, we can
Over it. I'm over hours. I mean, we're just having,
About this, okay, let's go to what they say. Okay. Oh, that's another one.
Yep.
All right, so. 5.5 grams of this. Sample or whatever. So we want to go to grams of that. To moles of AL2. And then one mole of that has 2 moles of AL, 2 moles of AL. And then you guys change it to grams.
Yeah, it's just, this part.
I have no further idea.
Okay.
No, two times one, right? No, divided by 10. So I don't know if that's. Yeah, yeah. Right, but one, probably the last to do it. Can I comment over anyone on everything? Oh, yeah, I know those. I yeah, 2.1, and then, divided by 10. Equals. Okay, divided by. Oh, I put it. 2.9 grams of oh. That's dangerous. See, when they do They did that because they didn't want to have the other problem on the also, like, have you seen my brother, his brother, I'm over exaggerating, yeah, so I can read my parents' we started doing things together. That's just a few equals M to help. We started talking about it on the. Okay, yeah, yeah. I did this with, oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so did you calculate it? I didn't, I just wrote it down. Oh, wait, I got to. I love how you like that picture and you like
I assume meet up and.
Word application.
How about
It's not like one more, but I find it oh, yeah.
you were not home for small period of time? Oh.
Two.
Okay, so.
Are the one day ones not?
7, 13 minutes. 9.
I was going through.
So they get in there here. So if they need to.
So the vial goes to the, and
Exactly, but you know what I'm saying, just multiply 1.5 times that. To get your total.
You have to multiply it.
I would have had to ask you. I'd help you along. His name is Kuyu. How is the weather? I think it's more. I said, how is the weather?
Oh, yeah. We're not sure if it's correct. If you have a total, we have a total mass of AL3, if we found the moles of AL, and then we'll graph it AL, and then I haven't, I don't have
Yeah.
I go for
What'd you get for the,
percentage.
what'd you get for the grant? You gotta get all first, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's good. 12%. Like 525. Oh,
That's good.
96. 5, and so you have 27. You're the 2.91. And then.
Good. Oh, we should probably.
We have White House. So you're not supposed to. I remember like last year, when I moved here 5 years ago, I was like 3. Which makes no sense. Because you're living in oh, 29.
No, you're
That's crazy. You don't have beans.
right. Oh, okay. Anyone I would ask.
No, I mean, the I was going, my original.
Too bad I actually didn't have more questions.
As friends. I was trying to you better hear my
It's not my case. 3 more hours, so. Yeah, or you can do it for a while.
What do you mean?
Right, that's her cat. Yeah.
So, my people, bring this on Monday. And where's Lisa? I need to get coffee back.
Everyone has it.
I need to coffee back, but I messaged you on. On Monday, if we can, we'll go over the multiple choice together and you can see how you did on that with the clausura. That at least will be done. I think there's another class after us, so I'm going to say no. I don't think we need to today. Goodbye. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.